YouTube, how's it going? I'm back. Yes, with another free agency breakdown video. Thought I was done with these, but a big time name has come up, hit the market. Packers released Jordy Nelson. Surprising, even though we heard it was possible in the past, it still surprises me. I thought if it was anybody, it would be Randall Cobb. So very surprising, but he's a free agent. We're going to remove teams one by one, figure out where he's going. Teams that are already interested in him, there could become more, but they are the Niners, the Patriots, the Ravens, the Seahawks, and the Raiders. They all make sense to me. Some of these other ones make sense too. I don't expect all these to become interested. Maybe they'll give him a call, but we'll break them down here. Dolphins is the first one I want to get rid of. I thought they can use him. Tannehill could use a weapon like him. Losing Jarvis Landry, maybe a replacement. Obviously, they're different styles, but maybe in talent-wise, they're pretty close. Jarvis Landry better at the moment, you may say. But they went out and signed Albert Wilson and Danny Amendola. Two good signings, I think. Looking back on it, they may like, we could use Nelson now. We use some of our cap, but that's not how you can approach free agency. They had to just really get into it and get their guys they were interested in. So I liked what they did, but already bringing in two receivers, unlikely they get Jordy Nelson, but they could use him. The Seahawks have been rumored to be interested in him, but I don't know. I don't know what the Seahawks have been doing. We've been talking about this a little bit. They're cutting veterans, but then they may bring in one like this. It doesn't really make any sense to me. I don't know if they're that appealing. I mean, Russell Wilson is very appealing. Them two could be good together, but I don't know. I don't know what they got going on. I'll remove them for now. It's very much possible, but we'll see. Looking at the Arizona Cardinals, they recently got Bradford, or he's supposed to sign come Wednesday, official league start day. He could use another weapon with Larry Fitzgerald, but maybe not the most appealing team. I think if Bradford stays healthy, they could be good. They could definitely be a playoff contender, but that's a big if. So take off the Cardinals, maybe not as appealing as these other teams. A team like the Vikings would love that to happen, playing against his rival. His new rival would be the Green Bay Packers, but playing for his old rival, maybe the biggest rivalry in sports, would be very interesting. They were interested in Alshon Jeffrey last year, a veteran receiver, maybe a bigger target, even though they knew what they had in Thielen and Diggs. So they could look for another guy if he ends up being a little cheaper, but I don't know if he will be. They're signing Kirk Cousins to a long, big deal, I should say. So take out the Vikings for money reasons. Team like the Titans, I'll have to take off next. They could use him. They needed Eric Decker at the end of last year. He wasn't too good. And this guy's a better version of Eric Decker, so they could use him. They do like their young guys, and they spent their money, not all their money. They had a good amount of cap, but they spent it on Dion Lewis and Malcolm Butler recently. Spent a good amount of it, but they do have more cap room. But because they used a good chunk on those guys, maybe we'll take Jordy Nelson off the board. They do like their young receiving core too, so maybe they don't think they need him, but they were in a discussion of possibly acquiring Jarvis Landry. So different style players. So we'll take the Titans off for Jordy Nelson. Looking at a team like the Broncos, I don't know if it happens, but I really like the Broncos for him. Keenum with Jordy Nelson would be nice. Could use another target, even though they have two solid guys there. But again, I think they don't really have much besides that. They got a rookie from last year coming back that I'm looking forward to, but I think they can use him. I just don't know if it happens. Interesting to see what Keenum does. I think that's a good signing. I think Bradford is going to get paid more this year than Keenum will, so that's pretty interesting. But I'll take the Broncos off. Some of the other teams I just like better. A team like the Rams could use them. Losing Sammy Watkins and could use another guy. They're very appealing because they're a contender in the NFC, but maybe doesn't really fit their offense. Maybe they want a younger guy that fits that offense there with Jared Goff, a guy maybe similar to what Sammy Watkins was. So we'll take the Rams off the board. A team like the Redskins could use them. They needed a top target for Alex Smith there. They needed really a legit one guy in the past, and they never really got. They got Doxson, Paul Richardson, Jordy Nelson can help them, but it depends on how much he's going to get paid. Looking at the receiver market, he might get a good amount of money. So I don't know. I don't really. I heard the Packers didn't even try to give him a pay cut. They just released him. So I think the Packers were just trying to cut a ton of space here, getting Wilkerson and Jimmy Graham. So I don't know if it was about maybe him being a certain amount off. So he could get a similar contract, obviously not as much, but pretty close. So the Redskins will take him off the board. Maybe they don't want to spend that much after getting Paul Richardson. A team like the Jets can pay him a lot, but maybe not the most appealing team. Looking at these other teams, probably looking for a contender. They got McCown back. Sounds like they're getting Teddy Bridgewater, which I love that signing. I'm a big Teddy Bridgewater guy, so he could go there. They need him. They can pay him, but unlikely because these other teams are legit. I think he wants to get back to winning, get back at the Packers maybe. Like a lot of these teams, these are the main teams here. I'll take the Cowboys off next though. Maybe too similar to Des Bryant. Need more of a shifty guy. That can do multiple things, slot outside. Um, so maybe they've been pretty quiet in free agency. So I'm not worried about it though. Draft is big time. I would look out for them getting a athletic receiver in the draft. Now these teams, I like. Let me go one by one here. I like the Panthers because they definitely need another target. They traded away Kelvin Benjamin last year. Cam Newton needs another target. Corey, Jordy Nelson and Cam Newton would be great. Good veteran presence there. And I think he can play. Not as good as he once could, but he can play. Jordy Nelson, that is. So they could use him. They haven't really been doing a whole lot for agents. Been losing some of their own guys. Maybe not the biggest deal for them, but they could spend some here. Looking at a team like the Ravens, I think they desperately need a receiver. Missing out on some of these top guys. The Patriots, they're rumored to be interested in him. It's just a total Patriots move or Jordy Nelson move to go to the Patriots, so for the Patriots to get him, maybe be as good as he once was. I can see that happening with the Patriots. They've been pretty quiet free agency. A team like the Raiders, that's where his first visit will be. And you know John Gruden's going to be interested in Jordy Nelson. You just know it. I think he fits very well with Derek Carr. The Saints been missing out on some guys. They got Drew Brees back, obviously. May lose Willie Snead, so they need another receiver. The Packers been taking the Saints guys. They both been interested in the same guys. The Packers been getting Jimmy Graham, Muhammad Wilkerson, so maybe the Saints spend some money here. And the Niners, pretty much rumored to everybody. Haven't really spent a whole lot yet. Richard Sherman deal was pretty good. They're interested in some other guys. Missed out on Malcolm Butler. Was that because they got Sherman? Or was that because the Titans offered him a better deal? I think they can get another young corner in the draft. That makes more sense. Sherman and Witherspoon for a little bit here than Witherspoon and the rookie long term. So they could end up spending money here. They're not going to go by position. They're going to go somewhat by position, looking at their needs. But if this guy can help us more than that guy, it doesn't really matter by position. So they know that if they think that Jordy Nelson can help them, which I think they'll like him, how much do they offer him? So I think they can really spend the money here. I'll take the Panthers off. Maybe need a little help on defense as well. Losing Star Lotulelei. Could draft a guy. I think maybe they need more of a speed guy, but I would like that. I'll take the Patriots off, even though they're rumored to be very involved in monitoring Jordy Nelson, and I can see it happening. And it's kind of one of those things unless you absolutely hate the Patriots, but it's kind of one of those things you want to see happen. I just don't. They haven't been really spending money. They've been losing their own guys, so I don't know if they're going to all of a sudden change that. I think Jordy Nelson may get more money than people think. Just because he was cut for the Packers doesn't mean he's not worth something. Look at the receiver market right now too. So I think he would get paid. He could very well end up being on the Patriots. I can see it, but I just have to remove him here. I got to choose one team. I'll take away the Saints. Maybe not as interested as the other three teams. All these other three teams been very interested in them already. I expect more teams. Maybe some of the teams I had up on the board. Some teams I got rid of, like the Patriots, maybe like the Vikings, the Seahawks. You like to see them play Russell Wilson. You like to see them go to those teams, but maybe they're unlikely compared to these teams. So it's really hard to remove the next team. I'm gonna go Ravens. And it's left with the Niners and the Raiders. I think those three teams are just very high on him. Ravens need him. The Niners can pay him more. The Raiders got his first visit, so for that reason, I'll go with the Raiders. Got the first visit. You know, a lot of these guys don't get out of the visits. John Gruden's going to persuade him. You had to know that John Gruden was going to go for this guy, that he liked him. You know, he really likes this guy, man. So it doesn't surprise me. He's a good downfield target. Derek Carr, it just makes sense. Derek Carr with Jordy Nelson, and then Obviously, Amari Cooper's still their top target. Do they move on from Crabtree then? We'll see. They could still hold on to him. They could definitely use all three of them and more guys possibly for the future. So I'll go with the Raiders. Very well could be any of these teams, but we will see. We'll see if he takes any more visits after that. You expect him maybe to the Niners to set up a visit, the Ravens set up a visit, maybe the Patriots. You expect it to be somewhat of a contending team unless somebody just offers them crazy money, which some of these receivers have been getting. I haven't really been liking these contracts, to be honest. I mean, some system fits, but I think the receiver class in the draft, there's no like elite guy, even though I do like Cortland Sutton a lot. There's some good depth. There's some guys that I think they can come in and play right away. I think people are going to be surprised. I think you get a guy in the third round that can actually play right away. So a lot of money being tossed around for receivers. I guess it's not all that surprising, but I'm just surprised people, if it's true that teams don't really like the receiver draft class that much, because I actually like it a lot. It's not the best thing in this draft, but we'll see. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Stay tuned for more draft and offseason coverage. That'll do it. Check out our new Patreon page, link in the description. We want to keep growing with you guys, make this better experience, so we could use your help. There's some rewards involved in there if you just take a look at the page. Kind of a new thing we got set up. So thanks for everything, guys, and that'll do it. We'll be back. Goodbye.